Countless kingdoms have risen and fallen on this spot. Drangleic, built by King Vendrick, is only one of them. Not long before Vendrick's rule began, the Iron King was the most influential monarch known in this land, a proud, powerful, and cruel man. If only he had known that not far from his kingdom, just across the mountains in fact, stood Anor Londo, the capital of Lordran, nestled atop the cliffs, and kept hidden by illusions. Without doubt, had the Iron King known, he would have made his move to take control of Anor Londo, for the Iron King suffered no enemies, no dissension, and no disrespect, even from his closest friends. The Iron King had no queen. Haughty as he was, he refused to settle for a single maiden, rejecting each who made an attempt to court him. One such maiden was named Mytha, a powerful sorceress who thought herself worthy of him. But alas, she was rejected, even in spite of her power, wisdom, and stunning beauty. And so, the Iron King had no queen. Not in his lifetime. Nadalia, one of the 4 children of Dark who spawned from their father Manus when he and his abyss were defeated. An augur of loneliness and solitude, Nadalia desperately wished to find her king, a king whom she could use to bring the world closer to the day of vengeance. She was too late. The Iron King had already sunken into the earth, creating a lake of molten iron and rock, and taking a bestial form befitting the man he had become. Making her way to the king's Smelting Spire, she clung to his heirlooms, and eventually, in her solitude, rejected her own flesh, burning away and becoming pure darkness, a black fog that would envelop the entire structure and possess everything contained within. From that day, it became known as Broom Tower, a haunted spire with a life all its own. Spreading her soul thin, she took a physical form comprised of ash, becoming the Ashen idols. 12 of these idols were created, each imbued with enormous power, for the Child of Solitude was the strongest of her sisters, as Manus' greatest wish was simply to be left alone. His hope for solitude was immense, and so too was the might of his child born of it. Each Child of Dark works towards a common goal, to take vengeance for the death of Manus, and to spread the dark of their abyss once again. Nashandra sought the power of the giants and the first flame. Nadalia, however, hoped to raise an army. With the scorching iron scepter, the old Iron King's greatest treasure, she could grant will to lifeless iron, able to raise a nigh inexhaustible army of automatas from the replete stores of iron in the tower and the region. Many of these were created, left to guard the tower and the Child of Dark. But so too did she send out foot soldiers, her pursuers. The pursuers were created, imbued with a small piece of Nadalia's power, and sent out into the world to slay undead, for undead represented the greatest threat to her and her sisters. The pursuers are scattered across the land. They can't be bargained with, they can't be reasoned with, they do not feel pity or remorse or fear, and they absolutely will not stop, ever, until their target is hollowed. Nadalia was content to remain this way, creating her army and destroying all who entered her tower, sapping the very souls from them to increase her own strength, until one day. Someone entered the tower whom could not be stopped, a knight who had nothing to lose and nothing to fear. Who had the uncanny ability to expunge the black fog of Nadalia. However, when they finally met, instead of coming into conflict, they discovered that they were kindred spirits, both left alone in the world without a kingdom and without a father. And so Rame, former Knight of Vendrick, joined with the Child of Dark, a piece of her soul coalescing into his greatsword and granting him power unlike anything he had felt before. Now her Fume Knight, Rame waits at the lowermost chamber of the tower, within an enormous kiln protecting Nadalia's remains, and of course, the tower's most precious treasure. Now the crown awaits a new lord, one who can defeat Nadalia and her Fume Knight. But only a true monarch could perform such a task.